All right, folks. This is the week 3 conference. Welcome. All right. So what we're going to be talking over here is structuring an argument. We're going to have a few different stages to this today. Oh, you know what? Give me a second here. I know what's happening here. I have signal issues because of a iffy internet connection. So forgive me here. I have to reset this. Come on. I need to reset my internet connection and it won't let me because
Try to forget your password and then retype it in.
all right, I'm here. I am here now. Okay. All right. So we have a few things we're going to be doing here today. Number one, we're going to be going through the steps, talking over structuring an argument. Number two, we're going to have a first look at the weekly discussion boards. I figure every 3 weeks we're going to take a look at the 3 most recent topics that have been posted there, just so everybody can have a glance at what the topics are in case they haven't put anything yet. And depending on how much time I have, we may go ahead and do the review of the glove and boots videos again, just so that you have them fresh in mind before you do the exercise in questions for the professor. All right, so let's take a look at structuring an argument. All right, so the most effective arguments have a structure that meets the needs of the rhetorical situation. That is, say, purpose, audience, genre, and form. So writers generally adopt a format that presents the arguments clearly and persuasively to the audience based on some basic factors. One of those is audience expectations. What are you expecting your audience to respond to? Okay. Conveying argument in the rhetorical situation. Are you using the right format for the circumstances you're walking into? And finally, the purpose of the argument. Why are you making the argument in the first place? What has inspired you to write about that in the first place? All right, so structure for classical argument. It's in 6 parts. Okay. First part is an introduction, where you present the main argument in context. Second is the background, where you present a narrative of events or statement of facts to show the reason for the argument. Why is this argument? Give us some of that backstory, where the argument comes from. Third is the proposition, the statement of the writer's argument or position and summary of the key points. So this primarily is where you are talking over what your argument is and the reasons why you are supporting it. Okay? That leads into the proof, which is your reasons, your logical reasons for supporting your side of the argument, and the evidence you have to back up those reasons. Following that is refutation, which is acknowledgement of the opposing viewpoint with a rebuttal of their points or acceptance of shared facts. Okay? So you want to make sure that you are being fair to the other side and saying what they are trying to point out. And then finally, conclusion, summary of the main points of the argument with a final appeal to the audience. Okay? So let's get into it, what the main parts of the structure are. Starting with the introduction. Okay? Arguments should have a strong introduction to grab the reader's attention. Now, this is especially important if your argument is being written for an opposing or audience. Okay? If your audience is one that is naturally going to be against you based on their inherent biases, you're going to have to be very convincing in terms of your introduction just to get them to read the rest of your argument, because they're more likely to dismiss you out of hand if they know you disagree with them already. Okay? So find an angle for the hook that will make the reader continue to read and hold their attention. Okay, something such as anecdotes, little brief stories about what's stuff that relates to the stuff that relates to the argument, stuff that relates to your background in the argument. Okay. Interesting related facts, something that people may not have known about the subject matter. Storytelling. Tell a brief little story about how somebody might be affected by the situation you guys are arguing. Ask a question which forces the reader to participate. Now you're having them directly trying to imply for them. Okay? Then challenge the reader's assumptions. The introduction is your first chance to force the reader to think about your argument from your perspective. So challenge what they think about the argument. Challenge what they are understanding about it. Okay, because they probably have an understanding based in their own either experiences or their own personal biases. So you're trying to defy that by making them take your viewpoint. Next is the background. So this is just to bring your audience up to speed in regards to your argument's background. Okay, where does it come from? Why is this such a big dispute? It's typically presented as a narrative of the issue and the events surrounding the argument. So you're going to take a look at where both sides are coming from and the facts and events that are agreed to by both sides. Okay, both sides are going to say, yeah, this happened. Maybe they agree that no, this didn't happen. Okay, whatever facts that you can find that both sides can agree to. And then explain why the issue is so important to those who argue on both sides. Talk it over with them. Talk over why both sides have this particular viewpoint. Why do they feel so strongly about it? Then give as much detail as possible within the constraints of the argument. What kind of detail can you give us to try to clarify what people are arguing over, where they're coming from, what kind of details are affecting those arguments? Okay. Now, we have proposition and proof. This is actually two sections rolled into one slide. Okay. At this point, you're going to present your core argument and the justification. So, present your entire side. Okay. What is your argument? Where are you landing in terms of the dispute? What side of the dispute are you on? Okay. Give your reasons for supporting the argument. Make a compelling argument by presenting reasons that stem logically from your experience and belief system. Okay, there has to be a logical reason why you are supporting this. There has to be a logical reason where you are coming from with this argument that you're trying to make. Okay, so have you had experience with it? Have you had any kind of research? Where are you coming from? Okay. Following the reasons, then you need to give evidence which prove your reasons to be correct. So, okay, so evidence is made up of irrefutable facts which both sides can agree to their factual nature. Okay, that's the difference here. Reasons are your personal ones. Facts, evidence should always support your reasons. Okay. Now, when you go along with the research, you may locate evidence which either is irrelevant or it may be unsupportive of your argument. So set it aside. Or it may not be 100% relevant. Okay? Maybe it's something that's not entirely supportive of your side, but it's also something that you need to be aware of. Okay? Next is refutation. Okay? That is looking at the opposing side viewpoint. You must give time for the opposition. So any fair argument will acknowledge the opposition if only for the purpose of refuting it. Okay. One thing to keep in mind: you should never argue with your blinders on. Okay. No should ever be tunnel vision. I have the only legitimate viewpoint. I have the only reasonable viewpoint. Everyone else is out in the wilderness. I don't know what they're talking about. Just stick with me. That's not a good way to conduct an argument, because that basically means that you are ignorant of everything else that disagrees with you. Okay. Briefly present the opposition argument and reasoning for their argument. So why are they supporting that side? What reasoning do they have for supporting the opposing viewpoint that you are up against in that argument? Okay. Now this is one place where evidence is tricky. Okay. You must acknowledge evidence which supports the opposition as fact if it can be confirmed as fact. Okay. This is where we talk about alternative facts, okay? People making up stuff as they go along. Fact is fact. An opponent which is gleefully willing to disregard reality is not worth arguing, okay? So let's be clear here. When you are arguing your case, are presenting the position viewpoint as a perspective in terms of this is what they're saying, and I'm going to refute that. If they have factual evidence, you have to present that factual evidence. Okay, you have to acknowledge that they have facts to back up their reasoning. Okay. However, you need to refute the argument with your own evidence. Okay. Now, this is where some of that evidence that you may have set aside because it wasn't 100% supportive of you might come in handy because maybe it's middle ground evidence. Maybe it's something that can be agreed to by both sides and maybe partially confirms both sides. Okay? Maybe it's something that works for, but then at the same time, it also works for you. Okay? Occasionally, refutation can use the opposing reasons or evidence to support the main argument. Now, we had two examples of this. One of them was a bit more serious, and that was the argument over increase in violent crime versus increase in video game violence. We talked about the argument that Senator Orrin Hatch made based on red cherry-picked data. Which Maureen Dowd was very happy to refute by telling him, yeah, you looked at the data set and you only half read it, and B, you didn't look at the entire thing. Okay, so that was one example I gave you in the video. The other one is the Johnny Depp arguments, which I asked you to evaluate who made the more compelling point in the questions to the professor. Okay, and I will say that I've had a few replies to this. For the most part, people seem to be on the side that the side of the argument that said Johnny Depp should not retire was the winner of that dispute. Okay, many people are actually pointing out that a few of the reasons that they gave are pretty much nonsensical. Considering that the video came from an internet comedy site, that's kind of understandable. Okay, they're going to do some nonsense stuff. They do a lot of artist things at that particular channel. Okay, so that covers refutation. Now, the last part of the structure of a classical argument is the conclusion. So your conclusion is the last chance you have to make a lasting impression on your audience. So it's your parting shot, basically. It should leave an impact. It should make your audience think. That's a big thing. You need to make sure that your audience is thinking about you, your argument, in a way that you want them to. Okay? So, offer your answer to any previously asked questions and reiterate those questions to the audience. Okay? If you started your introduction by asking the audience a question related to your argument, maybe this is your opportunity to present your personal answer to that question. Okay? You can also summarize the argument. Okay, just really briefly give a rundown of what your argument was and why you support it, and kind of give a review of some of the evidence that you presented. Okay, present a call to action to urge the audience to act. This is a big strategy that a lot of people use in more modern arguments. It's not enough to just sway people. The people have to be urged to actually do something about the situation and not just sit back and watch people argue over it. Okay? Now, when you are going into all the appeals apply. You can use all of them. Okay? Ethos. Establish your credibility and that of your argument to show that you know what you're talking about. Pathos. Make the audience feel the way you do to make your argument more impactful. Logos. Give another logical interpretation of the issue and your argument. Okay? All three of those in varying levels can play into your conclusion and can really help to drive your point home and to try to convince your audience, hey, maybe you have a point, especially if they're an opposing audience. Maybe they've grown their viewpoint now. Okay? Now, the other thing to remember, again, point of the classical argument is not necessarily to win, but also to increase knowledge. Okay, The biggest point of a classical argument is we need to increase what we know about this topic, spread more knowledge out there. Okay? All right, so that does it for the slides. Question session here in a minute, but the first thing I want to do is go through the discussion topics because I've had some people asking about these. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my browser screen, and we're going to go to the discussion topics. Okay, so there's a couple of administrative things I want to cover with this. First off, I would kindly request that when you post your responses to these questions, post them within the threads that are originally posted. Okay, do not start a new thread to respond, because if we have everybody doing that, then this is going to get out of control in a big hurry. Okay, so I posted threads. I need you guys to respond within those threads. Okay. The other thing is about grading these. Okay, I've had people asking when they're going to receive a grade on discussion posts. Okay, these are not being graded. They participate. Okay, the only time I'm going to grade this is at the end of the semester when it locks. Okay. It is up to you to keep up with them on a weekly basis, though, because I will be posting every week. And if you're trying at the very last minute to submit every single response, it's not going to go well for you, because these have a length requirement for the responses that you have to meet. Okay, and I've been lenient on it in the past. I can't do that this time around because everybody's got the time. So you need to post these with the proper length of response. That is to say, it has to be a 3-paragraph response, and it has to be something that's a question that's presented to you. Okay. All right. With that in mind, I'm going to take a look at the 3 topics here and read over what the basics of the topics are and give you an idea of what to answer. Okay. So we'll start with week 1. With students getting cheated. This one has a bit of a preamble to it, but I'm going to skip that and go straight to the issue itself. Okay, so for students getting cheated, here is the discussion topic. Due to COVID-19, earlier in the year, all students in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland shut down completely, ending their school year early. Because of this, students were not able to take end-of-year exams, which are mandated by the government and used by universities around the nation to determine placement. As a result of this, teachers were asked to speculate what their students' results on exams would have been had they taken the exams, and these grades were collected by an independent contractor company who was going to assign virtual exam grades. However, in order to avoid grade inflation and fearing that teachers were grading their students too highly, the contractor company created an algorithm to predict exam grades, which took a number of factors into consideration, including a school's past history of exam results. 3 weeks ago, students received their exam results, and at least 40% of the students received scores which prevented them from entering universities, even when they had been previously accepted based on the teacher projections. The virtual exam scores rendered these students ineligible. This caused a massive protest among these students, many of which came from public schools and lower-income areas which traditionally had lower resources and lower scores on the exams, while most private school students received acceptable grades, including an overall 2% of students who the algorithm gave higher grades to. To put this in perspective, the American equivalent of this situation would be if senior colleges suddenly had their SAT results vacated and replaced with a grade based on the past performance of students attending their high school. Near the middle of the month, though, the British government backed off from forcing students to accept the algorithmic grades and instead allowed the students to choose either the grades their teachers had given or the algorithm's grade, whichever was more favorable. This still, however, does not address the inherent bias toward wealthy students in the algorithm's construction. For your discussion this week, argue for or against the solution used by the government. Why do you feel using the algorithm is fairer or less fair than going with the teacher recommendations? How would you have addressed the situation? What should have been included in the algorithm to best simulate student performance in the exams? Now, every single one of these, as much as possible, is going to include 5 resources for you. There'll be links, external links to go to articles and media about the situation. In this case, we have an article from The National, article from The Telegraph, article from Forbes, an article. and a video segment from the Philip DeFranco show on YouTube, all of which discusses this particular situation. All right, so we're going to go to topic number 2, week 2, which is remembering Chadwick Boseman. Okay, we'll read over this and give you the resources here. Okay. So, a full week of emotional turmoil and news cycles full of violence and aggression came to a screeching halt late on Friday night when word came that actor Chadwick Boseman, best known for his lead role in 2018's Black Panther, had died after fighting colon cancer for 4 years, a period in which the actor had made many of the films that had made him a rising Hollywood star. Reaction was shocked and immediate, both from the acting community, in particular past co-stars Josh Gad, Denai Guerrera, and Michael B. Jordan posted poignant tributes to social media, and in the sports world, as 2 of Boseman's previous roles were as an NFL draft pick by the Cleveland Browns in the film Draft Pick, and as Jackie Robinson in the biopic 42. In a tryst of cruel irony, Boseman passed away on the day Major League Baseball started a weekend devoted to honoring Robinson by having all MLB players wear 42 in tribute. Boseman's cause of death has led to a lot of reflection and thought about the current state of healthcare in America. At the start of his treatments 4 years ago, he had been diagnosed as having stage 3 cancer, which Boseman was very young to have. He was 39 at his initial diagnosis. As the American Cancer Society recommends that screening for colon cancer start at age 45. He has brought attention to a troubling trend of colorectal cancer appearing in individuals at a younger age. The average age, according to the ACS, is 50. More than that, it's also been noted that no one outside of Boseman's medical circle and his family even knew he had a disease until his death. This has led to a lot of soul-searching from social media, as the actor had been displaying a marked weight loss in recent months as he was fighting stage 4, leading to jokes about his body, which are now criticized as being ableist. For your discussion this week, argue one of 2 disputes from this circumstance. So you have your option of which argument you want to enter. Okay? 1. Why was Boseman's decision to keep his diagnosis and health issues private the right or wrong decision? Does his position as a public figure mean he had to reveal his health struggles, or does a public face not override the necessity for privacy in medical affairs? Option 2. When Boseman was diagnosed in 2016, he was already in stage 3. What could have been done differently to diagnose him sooner and possibly save his life? Argue whether the ACS standard for screening needs to be changed or remain how it is. Should people be getting screened for colon cancer sooner in life, considering the rise of younger colon cancer patients? Okay, so you can choose which one of those issues you want to argue for. Okay, we have another 5 research sources. One's from CNN, one is Good Morning America, one is the Today Show, one is Stat, which is a medical news site, and the last one is, again, Forbes magazine. Okay? So that covers week 2. Now we go to week 3, which was just posted Tuesday, in case you haven't seen it yet. Okay. Week 3's topic is Mulan and the film industry's shifting model. Okay. So here is the discussion topic. The global pandemic has changed many things about how the world as we know it operates, with a lot of changes having to come into seemingly everyday things. One of the major industries affected by the safety protocols created by the pandemic has been movie watching. As movie theaters, usually bustling during the summer blockbuster season, were almost entirely shuttered since mid-March the past 3 weeks, as theater chains have been slowly ramping up reopening their locations and new movies delayed from the summer began trickling into them. Among the recent major new releases to come to theaters has been comedy sequel Bill and Ted Face the Music, Tenet. Some companies, however, have fully shifted their model in terms of their new releases, opting instead for digital releases. Most prominently, this has occurred with animated features originally scheduled for late spring or summer releases. The first of these, Troll World Tour, being the model acting as proof of concept for other studios. The first major mover, however, in terms of live-action blockbusters was Disney, who moved one significant summer release, Artemis Fowl, to its Disney Plus streaming service. On Labor Day weekend, Disney did a similar release for the delayed from March live-action remake Mulan with a twist. The film would be available to subscribers at premium, paying an extra $29.99 above the subscription price for access on the opening weekend. There are elements to this release that are different from other video-on-demand new releases, though. Subscribers do not receive a limited viewing window. They keep access to the film as long as they keep their Disney Plus subscription active. Previous VOD films were rentals that lasted 48 hours. Subscribers who do not want the premium access will be able to view the film when it releases normally, which is speculated to be December. These differences, however, do not convince some viewers who point to the high price of the film. Other VODs cost $19.99, as well as that you have to be a current Disney Plus subscriber. Currently, subscriptions are at $7.99 a month in order to view it, whereas other VODs were available on multiple platforms. Tuesday reporting, however, shows that the strategy may have paid off for Disney, as subscriptions increased 68% over the Labor Day weekend. A similar spike occurred in early July around the highly anticipated release of Hamilton on Disney Plus, and it is now rumored Disney may take a similar approach with another similarly delayed blockbuster, the Marvel MCU film. For your discussion this week, argue for or against a primarily VOD model for the film industry. Is there going to be a greater benefit for both studios and consumers to switch to home presentations, or will consumers still want the theater experience? Look at some of the releases from this year on VOD, including Mulan, and argue for whether it is better in the long run to keep offering video-on-demand experiences for new films, whether they're alongside theatrical releases or in place of them, or whether it is better to keep releasing films to theaters first. So in this case, we only have 4 outside sources here. Really, that kind of covers every angle. Those 4 sources are Fox, The Verge, Forbes, and MCU Cosmic, which is a comic book news site. All right, so all 3 of those continue to be available. If you need to post to them, if you have not posted to them yet, you are still able to post to them. It is just a matter of getting to the threads and posting your responses. Okay. There's no deadlines on individual posts. The main deadline is the December 5th lockdown of the discussion board.
Okay.
Right, so we'll go ahead and open it up to questions here. Again, make sure you use that raise hand button. I'll recognize you, and then we'll get your questions out there. Okay. I saw Ian, then it came down, then I see Jed there. So let's do Ian first, then Jed.
Okay.
Okay, so Ian, I got you. What's your question? All right, let's go to Jed. What was your question, Jed?
I just want to clarify. We can pick any topic to write about in our paper, correct? Like that's within.
Yeah, for the classical art, any topic that's current events related within reason. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. Stephen, I did see your hand there. What was your question? Or was it the same question? Okay. All right. So a bit of a confusing start here. So let's go ahead and take some more questions. Oh, you got the same question. Okay. All right. All right. So any other questions anybody might have? Ian, I see your hand there. What's your question? Ian, not able to see you. I don't know if you're talking or not. Looks like your mic is on, but we're not hearing anything. If you could put your question into chat, we can answer it that way. Peer review for the essay. Okay, good question. All right, that's going to be starting next week. Okay, so you guys need to be in process of writing right now. We're going to start those workshop sessions next week. The entire week is going to be devoted to workshopping. You guys are going to be able to You guys are going to be able to post your drafts to the team discussion boards that I've got set up for you right directly in the threads. Okay. Then you'll be able to read them from the threads and give your feedback from those threads. Okay. That's the main way I want you guys to do this.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Essays free of first person. They do not have to be. The fact that they're arguments kind of precludes that. I don't want you to make them free of first person. You can argue and mention that is your argument. Okay. In fact, in 1301, I actually mentioned that this is one of the big myths that people get taught in school, that you're in a formal essay, you're not allowed to use an I. That is an absolute myth, okay? In fact, I wish teachers would stop teaching that, okay? Because it actually just makes writing that much harder. You are allowed to use an I in this. You're allowed to use first person, okay? It's your argument. You need to take ownership of it. That topic is all right as long as you have a argument. You definitely have an argument there. That's a pretty controversial topic. I will allow it as long as you can do it in a logical manner without getting too overly emotional. Okay, this is one that's a topic that really causes some high emotions.
Gotcha.
Okay, Trevor, I see your hand there. What's your question? Few examples of what we can write about that isn't too crazy. Okay, well, as I mentioned, we're looking at stuff that's going to be okay. So some of the stuff that you can write about that isn't too crazy. Mainly, I would recommend anything that does not center on the election or any of the protests that's going on. It'd probably be for the best. Okay, now. You can work with other current events, things that are going on right now. One big one of these would be the wildfires going on. Okay, there's actually a couple of different disputes there. One of them is the obvious climate change dispute. This is proof that climate change is happening because these fires are becoming more constant, more out of control. There's a weirder argument centering on one of those fires. Was the El Dorado fire was started by an explosive device used at a gender reveal party. So that's led to a debate over whether these parties are out of hand, because this is actually the second thing caused by at a gender reveal party. First one was in Arizona, and strangely enough, that one is actually a party that was being thrown by a border patrol agent. And they had a explosive smoke bomb that was supposed to go off with colored smoke, and it wound up sparking a giant fire there. I've also heard a report about a fire that started in Australia, and this one's actually even more ridiculous because the gender reveal party in question, the thing that caught on fire was a guy's car, because the gender was being revealed by smoke being done with a burnout. Okay, and the guy wound up torquing his engine so much that he blew up his car. So with the wildfires, again, there's a couple of different angles that you can take there. Okay. There's a few other things out there that are kind of controversial. In fact, I would say I mentioned news aggregators to try to find good topics. Okay. Um, I suggested news aggregators such as Yahoo News, looking there to see if you can find some good topics. I will say I gave you one good news aggregator as a source in the discussion topics in 2 weeks ago. And that is on YouTube. The Philip DeFranco Show is actually a pretty decent topic aggregator because he does serious news, but he also does stuff that is worthy of the debate, and he actually encourages debate over the topics that he presents. Okay, Stephen, I see your hand there. Go ahead with your question. Certain amount of sources. Okay, let me just double check. I don't think I set a requirement for that, but let me see. I didn't set a minimum requirement for that, but I do recommend for the most rounded viewpoint, you probably going to want at least 4. Let me just say that 2 or less is probably not enough. Okay, you're going to want more than 2, and it'll definitely not be enough if you present 0. Okay, I've actually had students who did that. For one student in particular was especially arrogant about it. He did I had a student who did a report on CrossFit. Okay, he did an essay about CrossFit, and I asked them to use research, and for a works cited page, his entire works cited page said, "Works cited my own brain." Okay, because this guy was a personal trainer, and he felt that the only resource he needed was his experience. That really hurt him in the long run because he needed that paper to pass. That didn't get him do him any favors. Okay. Okay, Ian, I see your hand there. Go ahead with your question. Do I suggest something else? No, the euthanasia topic, you can still stick with that if that's what you really want to do. I'm okay with that. Okay, I just want you to make sure that we are going to do this in a respectful manner and not get too. I don't want to say emotional, but I don't want to get to the point where it can cause a lot of grief. Okay. All right, Jaylene, I see your hand there. What's your question? Yeah, Jaylene, I see your hand. Okay, there it is. Are you on how the government deals with unjust cases? Yes, absolutely. That's a great example. Okay. That's absolutely a great thing that you could do. There's a lot of those out there. Okay. You might want to refine that a little bit to what kind of unjust cases. One of the big ones recently has been death penalty cases where there's been accusations of jury bias. There was one recently. It was a death penalty case in, I think it was Louisiana. The guy was 3 times. The guy was tried 3 times, and every time there was an appeal, the conviction didn't stand up because the prosecutor had purposely omitted minority individuals on the jury. So it was a black man who was being convicted by all white juries. So when he got tried, I believe the 3rd or 4th time on these counts, he was finally acquitted because they had a fair jury. All right. All right, so real quick here, I think since we're kind of trickling down on questions here, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to have you guys take a look one more time at the at the glove and boots arguments over Johnny Depp so that you have a fresh look at him and you can complete the questions of the professor exercise. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my browser window again, and we'll bring those up. Let's see, there it is. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with the first one. Do forgive me because there are ads here, so I'm able to cut them out in editing, but I can't cut them out when I do it live.
What was pretty good. Then
It's been 100 years, but he hasn't aged a day.
can't wait to show you.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the first argument, which is what Johnny Depp should retire.
Hi, everybody! So, I read on the internet Johnny Depp said he's probably going to retire soon.
Hooray!
Hey, that's kind of mean. People really like Johnny Depp.
Me too. I'm not cheering for me. I am cheering because now Tim Burton will have to stop making terrible movies.
Yeah, I like some of his movies.
Dark Shadows got that 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. We must give Johnny Depp 10 reasons to retire.
Hey, what are you talking about? I ain't going nowhere.
Not you, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp.
Oh, I got you, cuz. What? Is you retiring or something?
Number 10, age.
Mr. Depp is 50 years old. So that means, people, when you daydream about kissing Johnny Depp, it's like daydreaming about making out with Grandpa.
A very, very attractive grandpa. Number 9, money.
So Johnny Depp's 50 years old. He's worth about $350 million. If you do the math, he's made over $19,000 a day since the day he was born.
When I retire, I will $19.
What?
Professor, we don't see anything on the screen.
Academy Award.
Johnny, you're a great actor.
Hang on a second.
Announcing you're gonna retire is a brilliant move.
Okay, let me see what I can do. It should be sharing my browser screen. I went full screen on that. Let's see. Oh, it never went to share. Okay. All right, there we go. That should fix it. Let me start this over again. We'll go from there.
Hi, everybody!
So I read on the internet Johnny Depp said he's probably gonna retire soon.
Hooray!
Hey, that's kind of mean. People really like Johnny Depp.
Oh, me too. I'm not cheering for me. I am cheering because now Tim Burton will have to stop making terrible movies.
Yeah, I like some of his movies.
Dark Shadows got that 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. We must give Johnny Depp 10 reasons to retire.
Hey, what are you talking about? I ain't going nowhere.
Not you, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp.
Oh, I got you, cuz. What? Is you retiring or something?
Number 10, age.
Mr. Depp is 50 years old. So that means, people, when you daydream about kissing Johnny Depp, it's like daydreaming about making out with Grandpa.
A very, very attractive grandpa. Number 9, money.
So Johnny Depp's 50 years old. He's worth about $350 million. If you do the math, he's made over $19,000 a day since the day he was born.
When I retire, I will have $19.
What?
Number 8, Academy Award.
Johnny, you're a great actor. Announcing you're gonna retire is a brilliant move. You're forcing Hollywood to finally give you an Oscar.
You'll probably win for Pirates of the Caribbean 5, regurgitated tides of the same old crap. And speaking of crap, number 7, Tonto.
Some people are offended that Johnny Depp played Tonto in Disney's Lone Ranger, but Johnny does claim he's part Native American.
But he was in a band called Tonto's Giant Nuts. I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure it's offensive. Number 6, phobias.
Johnny Depp suffers from coulrophobia, which means he's scared of clowns.
I'm scared of clowns, but he spends so much time painting his face and wobbling around. He must quit.
Yeah, at the rate his wacky wobble and makeup wearing characters are going, he's gonna have to play a clown in a movie someday, which may actually kill him.
Oh. Number 5, eat all rich.
Johnny, Skeet Ulrich has been waiting for you to retire for 20 years.
Poor Skeet needs your job. For the last 5 years, all he has been doing is robot chickens and law and orders. Number 4, sexiest man alive.
Johnny Depp, Richard Gere, George Clooney, and Brad Pitt are all tied for most times as People Magazine's sexiest man alive.
And they should all quit.
What?
They need to clear a path for Patton Oswalt to finally claim the prize for which he was born. To win. Number 3, Keith Richards.
Captain Jack Sparrow was inspired by Rolling Stone guitarist Keith Richards.
Ugh. And he should have retired 30 years ago. He looks like half old gypsy woman, half Yoda.
Oh!
Number 2.
Johnny, you have to quit, or Disney will never ever stop making Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
I'm fairly certain that I'm ready to be over. They made another one, I promise you. And number 1. The Nightmare on Elm Street suck into bed scene.
Johnny Depp hasn't aged a day since Freddy Krueger pulled him through a bed in 1984.
That Johnny Depp, go ahead and retire. You will never top your finest acting performance.
What? Jimmy? I'll leave with 2 seconds to grab a bagel. It's over already.
All right, then we're going to go to the counter argument, why he should retire, or why he should not retire. Okay.
I used to be bad with the news, but I'm not anymore. I got my money right. Let's go.
Okay. Unfortunately, this end I can't skip.
Hey, everybody!
So, I read on the internet Johnny Depp said he's probably going to retire soon.
No!
Wait, he's not retiring like tomorrow or nothing.
I do not care. I am not crying for me. I am crying for poor Tim Burton, who will be ruined.
That's his choice. What are we going to do?
We will tell Johnny Depp 10 reasons he cannot retire.
Hey, what are you talking about? I ain't going nowhere.
Not you, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp.
Oh, I got you, cuz. What? Is you tired or something?
Number 10, age.
Johnny Depp is 50 years old. The average retirement age in the U.S. is 61 and 62 in France, where Johnny Depp lives sometimes.
Quitting early is like cheating and dropping out, Johnny Depp. Just like you dropped out of high school.
Oh, don't be mean. He did really well.
Drop out of school, kids. You could be the next Johnny Depp.
No, don't say that either.
Number 9, money.
So Johnny Depp's 50 years old, and he's worth about $350 million. If you do the math, he's made over $19,000 a day since the day he was born.
Retiring is like quitting winning the lottery every day. Are you insane, Johnny? Number 8, Academy Award.
Johnny, you're a great actor, but you don't have an Oscar yet. You gotta hang in there. You're gonna win one.
You're not winning one this year for Tonto. Speaking of Tonto, number 7, Tonto. A lot of people were kind of offended that Johnny Depp played Native American Tonto in the Disney Ranger movie.
But don't feel bad, Johnny. You claim you're part Cherokee, got honorarily adopted by a Comanche lady, and gave $25,000 to the Navajos.
That is all still kind of offensive. But he was trampled by a horse on the Lone Ranger set. Give Johnny a break, people. Number 6, phobias.
Johnny Depp suffers from arachnophobia, phasmophobia, and coulrophobia, which means he's scared of spiders, ghosts, and owls.
Johnny, do not quit. If you need employment in the future, you can never be exterminator, ghostbuster, or work at the circus.
And that pretty much cuts out all your options, except, I don't know, pen salesman?
Number 5, Skeet Ulrich.
Johnny, Skeet Ulrich has been waiting for you to retire for 20 years.
Don't retire. He cannot replace you. All he's been doing for the last 5 years is robot chickens and law and orders. Number 4, sexiest man alive.
Johnny Depp, don't quit yet. You're tied for most times in People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. With George Clooney.
He is 52. That is way older than you.
Richard Gere.
He is a weirdo. No one cares about him anymore.
And Brad Pitt.
Angelina Jolie adopted like 40 babies. That will turn Brad into an old man in a week.
You got this, Johnny. Go get it. Even though nobody reads magazines no more.
Number 3, Keith Richards.
Captain Jack Sparrow was inspired by Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards. Inspired you once, Johnny. Let him inspire you again.
And he will never retire. He is basically a corpse held together by faith and Jim Beam. Number 2.
Johnny, you quit. That's the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Unless Mr. Gibbs takes over.
Ooh, I like Gibbs. And number 1. The Nightmare on Elm Street sucked into bed scene.
Johnny Depp has not aged a day since Freddy Krueger pulled him through a bed in 1984.
What? Johnny Depp, that was amazing. You cannot retire until you top your finest acting performance.
What, are you kidding me? I'll leave for 2 seconds to get a rice ball special. It's over already.
All right, then. That's just to reiterate what the arguments that we're looking at are. Okay. So the task for that particular exercise was to evaluate both sides of that argument and see who used those reasons better. Okay. Let's see. All right. So we got about 3 minutes left here. Let you get any last minute questions out there before we sign things off. So anybody has any other questions or concerns right now, go ahead and put them up there, and I'll answer them best my. Raise your hand if you have a question. Okay, Mohammed, I see your hand there. Go ahead with the question.
My question is that can we like choose the topic for our essay, like defund the police?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pertinent question in current events. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mister.
Okay, Temujin, I saw your hand there. What's your question?
Yeah, I'm not used to this Blackboard thing, and I haven't been in many of the meetings. And I've been working on the discussion board and then the mind tab. I don't have any idea about the essay part we're supposed to do. Can you give me a little explaining so I can start working today?
Okay, that's for the main essay that you guys are doing? That's what you're asking for explanation about?
Yeah.
Okay, so the assignment for that is actually in the previous week's slides here. What you need to be doing as much as possible is watching the video lectures, which are linked in Blackboard. They are actually on YouTube. So those lectures will give you me lecturing you and giving you the perspective on these slides. I've just put up the basics for the assignment here. What you're doing is a classical argument. You need to that has multiple sides that you can take aside. Okay. It should be 3 to 5 pages long.
You said it's kind of chopping.
Okay, I'm having some connection issues. I do apologize for that. So the first major essay is going to be a classical argument. You need to pick a subject from current events that has multiple sides to it. Take a side and argue for that side. Okay. The assignment requirements for that is 3 to 5 pages. Should be double space. 11 to 12 point font. There's 3 possible font faces that are acceptable. I've got them listed here. It should be an MLA format, which is the name block and the page numbers. There are some reference sites that you can go to for MLA format. You will need a works cited page and citations within the paper in MLA format. I did advise earlier that it should be 4, probably 4 sources is going to be a good number. Okay. Classical argument should have a clear structure and a thesis statement. Argument position must be clear. In addition to the intended audience for your argument. Much as possible, your argument must avoid any analogical fallacies. We're going to be starting to workshop these next week. So if you have a team, you're going to be submitting it to the team discussion board for your team. Okay, so if you have not gotten a team yet, you're probably going to need to give one before next Monday, because that's okay. All right. I got Ian. I got your hand up. What was your question? I see it in chat. Okay, so it's got to say of health insurance. Okay, Ian, that's a good topic. You can go with that.
If I could add a little more question to my question.
Yeah.
So that's the essay we do with a group, right? So all my group mates we're supposed to do it together, right?
No, you're not. You're not writing it together. The team is going to be there to workshop it for you. But you have to write it yourself.
Oh.
Everyone's going to be writing their own.
Okay. Oh.
Mohammed, I got your hand. What's your question? We'll get you one more question if we have it, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, my question is that the maximum how many paragraphs should we have to write on our essay?
I don't go paragraph counts. I go page counts. So I want you to go minimum of 3 pages. I would recommend maximum of 5. Now I'm not going to penalize anybody who goes long, other than if by going long it winds up diluting your argument to the point where it's not really a good essay. Okay. So 3 to 5 is the general range. I'm going to have you working with all of these essays this semester.
Like when we write our essay, do we need to list our topic on the top, like defund the police or something like that at the top?
You need to have a creative title for the essay. Okay, something that gives an idea of what the is.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I got time for one more question. If anyone has one, go ahead and raise your hand. Almost done. All right, folks, are coming up on 2 o'clock, and we'll go ahead and let you guys get out of here. We're going to go ahead and look for the next video lecture next Monday. And we'll do another one of these next Thursday. I will see you guys then.
See you.
This will be posted later tonight.